games, comics, anime. Codenamed Epic.
I am Joshua Hale Fialkov. I am the writer of independent comics Echoes and Last of the Greats, better known for I, Vampire.
I'm Mike Costa. I write Cobra for IDW, since we're talking about our other credits, and Blackhawks for the New 52.
I'm Kyle Higgins. I write Nightwing and Deathstroke in the New 52, formerly Gates of Gotham, Supreme Power, and the Night Runner. I'm going to throw that out there.
At the League.
Yeah, yes.
I'm Mike Johnson. Since we're pimping our other stuff, I write Star Trek for IDW, and I co-write Supergirl for DC Comics.
You know, the kind of sense with the New 52, and what was the approach going into it, and how do we kind of wrap our heads around the titles and all that. So why don't we start with Mike then at the end. Let's just talk about kind of the core, I guess, you know, how we kind of are talking about cutting characters down to the core and how that process was for you, and that way we can kind of highlight who the characters are in our books.
Sure,
kind of, you know.
Will do. I have a suggestion. We've got a volunteer moderator here.
Excellent.
Jason Enright from Emerald Knights.
All right, yes!
He's done this before, so he's a semi-professional moderator. But we'll start with, I'll answer the question. Supergirl, if you guys have read the book, you know that she's just arrived. She's, the way we think of her basically is like any new reader to the New 52, that she has no idea what's going on. She's never met any of these people. And it's kind of a unique opportunity to write a character that has the same POV as the audience that way. There's been a lot of talk about how she's different from previous incarnations of the character, and she is very different. The backstory in particular that we are slowly revealing over the first couple arcs is very different from what's come before, but I think the core of the character is the same, which is she's heroic, she's a good person, she's brave, she's a bit of a hothead, quick to react, but at the end of the day she's a good person, and rather than being a hero from the start, the core of the book is learning how to be a hero.
So I'm doing two. I'll start with Deathstroke. Deathstroke is a book about a metahuman mercenary. You guys probably all know who Deathstroke is. But to me, what I was trying to do with the book in my approach is basically, it's a story about a guy who is the best at what he does to steal the Wolverine line. And at the end of the day, it's about his reputation, it's about perception, because it's about the Peanuts Gallery being really lame. No, it's about a guy whose reputation is the most important thing to him, because at the end of the day, he's a warrior. He views himself in the same kind of class as the samurai, as the knights throughout time, and for a warrior, it's all about respect. The greatest warrior for the greatest kingdom always commanded the greatest amount of respect. The only difference is that now there are no great kingdoms worth fighting for. The only great kingdom that's left, that controls everything and motivates everyone, is money. So working for hire, working for money, it's basically, it's not about money in the materialistic sense, it's about money in the way that it is a sign of respect in being hired and what someone's willing to pay him. So going forward, he's trying to get his reputation back, he's trying to reestablish that he is the best within the DC universe, because at the end of the day, that's really all he has. So then Nightwing is obviously Dick Grayson, formerly Robin, then Nightwing and Batman, now Nightwing again. I really wanted to continue where Scott Snyder had left him after Detective Comics, and where I had continued to...
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on, we have a very special... No, Scott.
It's not special, it's just...
From the pages of Dr. Seuss, we have the Lorax is here.
Mr. Scott Lobdell.
Scott Lobdell, everybody.
All right, sir.
You have my phone.
Okay, so Nightwing, I wanted to...
Kyle's gonna have to start over.
So Nightwing, I wanted to continue where Scott Snyder had left off after his Detective Comics run, where he and I had kind of played and put Dick Grayson in Gates of Gotham, which is that this is someone who has basically avoided this place for seems to take another look at Gotham City and basically accept where he's at. So I didn't want to take him out of Gotham. I wanted to leave him there because to remove him and have him basically run off to another city would undercut everything that Scott and I had tried to do with the character. So going forward, he's basically the hero of tomorrow. He is Gotham's future. Whereas Batman is the symbol of fear, Nightwing can be something more. He can be a symbol of hope. He can be inspiration. And in a place like Gotham that's so dark, that's one of the most powerful weapons that you can have. So going forward in the second arc, the first arc is all about his past coming back, and before he can really become the hero of the future, he has to go through his past as Gotham tries to break him through it. But going forward, as his status is going to elevate in the city, Dick Grayson is going to take a very active role within the city. There's a new job coming up that he's going to take on that I don't think anyone is going to see coming, and hopefully, the goal is that Gotham City is, in my opinion, more possibly Dick Grayson's than it is Bruce Wayne's.
Hi, so I read Blackhawks. It's the book that some of you may not have read yet. I know who you are. It's a brand new book. I think it's the only brand new book in the DC new, where all the characters are brand new. And it's about a sort of like the SEAL Team 6 of the DC universe, but instead of going up against threats that the Justice League could take care of, they are going up against very strange technological threats. It's sort of looking at technology as if it's a virus or it's an infection in society, and the Blackhawks' job is to curb that. And writing it where I don't really know what's going to happen in the next issue when I write it, to keep it exciting for me and hopefully for you as well. We've had a lot of different... And my editor. And also, in the past few months, I haven't really known who's going to draw it either. Extra level of excitement. So, but starting issue 5, we have Cafu, who you guys might know from Thunder Agents. He's an unbelievably awesome artist. And we've actually had some really good artists before Cafu as well. So it's just a lot of really crazy high-tech action, and that's basically what the book is. Josh?
I Vampire. Vampires in the DC Universe have been living in hiding. They've been taking crappy night jobs, like driving cabs and working in adult bookstores. It's miserable, right? But here's the thing. Vampires are these amazing, wonderful things, and they have so much power. They're so much better than the common man. All the vampires have decided they are not going to take it anymore. In a massive assault on the world, they have decided they are going to take over what is rightfully theirs. And they are led by Mary, Queen of Blood, who is sort of the queen of the vampires, and she is totally awesome, I swear to God. Mary, Queen of Blood, of course, has her foil, who is Andrew Bennett, the vampire who turned her into a vampire. The two of them are deeply, deeply in love, and they hate each other's guts. And it's essentially a chess game between these two lovers, trying to decide who is going to save mankind and who is going to eat mankind. Oh, John Constantine, issue 4, Batman, issues 5 and 6. There you go. Check it out.
Deathstroke crossover and Blackhawks not to be outdone. Issue 7 and 8.
The Flash. We're focusing on Barry Allen. Our Barry Allen. I co-write the book with Francis Manifold, who is an amazing artist. We are focusing on a younger Barry Allen, one who doesn't know quite as much as maybe previous versions of the Flash, and is discovering new things about his power. If you've read issue 2, you'll know now that he can access the Speed Force mentally when he puts his mind to it, and he can see different permutations of what could possibly happen. And we're going to explore the upside and the downside of his powers. And that's pretty much it.
So when I created Red Hood and the Outlaws, the concept much on just the colors, but Dead Man's a fun ride. Trapeze artist who is kind of a jerk in real life, and he gets a second chance at redemption that he never asked for, and they won't tell him how to do it. He's just this hand puppet of God is wrong. Yes.
living in Los Angeles. It's about the world that we live in, which is technology. Technology in the 21st century, it's taking us over. It's taking over our lives. Smartphones, TiVo, the whole 9 yards. And the only person who can save us from a technological gone mad type of future is one guy. His name's Mr. Terrific. He's the 3rd smartest man in the world. Or is he 1 and 2 also? Stay tuned. You'll find out who the top 10 is some point. Not this month, maybe next month. I gotta tease a little bit. But it's very much a story that takes place right here, right now, in Los Angeles. I tell people, the Greenery Mall that you see in issue 3, which comes out this Wednesday, which features the final battle with Brainstorm, oh my god, and all these revelations about his background, his wife, his life, everything, and his origin. It takes place at the Grove. Who's been to the Grove? Everybody, right? When you look at the book, look around at the background, you'll recognize the water fountain, the guy who sells the pretzels, the whole 9 yards. It's one of the most fun aspects of writing this book is writing a superhero from my town, your town. Technology gone mad, Mr. Terrific, check it out.
Savage Hoffman, I understand that there hasn't been Carter hasn't had his regular title in a while, and we're really excited, trying to get new readers into knowing this new Hoffman that's going to be, in the New 52 universe. Tony surprising me with, his stories every month whenever I get the script, myself. What I usually do is try to do a little bit better, or try to go back at him and with visuals that he doesn't expect. So and hopefully you guys will are going to like a lot of the visuals I'm going to try to do. It's going to be very different from the Hoffman that you've seen before. It's all with the powers, how he transforms, how he interacts with the bad guys, how he uses the city itself to be able to fight crime and all that stuff. It's going to be pretty exciting. Thank you.
My name is Scott Lobdell, and show of hands, how many people are reading Teen Titans? Anybody? Okay, show of hands, how many people are reading Superboy? And how many people are reading Red Hood and the Outlaws? Okay. Everybody who's not reading those books should be reading those books, and that's all I have to say. Okay, thanks.
Can you guys hear me? All right, cool. So we now know that you guys, as the news the other day, have overtaken the market share, 51%. We also know that comic sales in general have skyrocketed. And I'm just wondering, what does it feel like to be a part of this new rejuvenation of comic books and, bringing new life to these characters, whether they're characters we've had for years or, characters that have been missing, but what is it like to have brought new life to these characters and brought new life to the industry?
I'll tell you guys, the ladies love it. They love it. I'm showing them that 51% pie graph. That's my new thing at bars.
I think one of the cooler things has been that I think we all did it September. I think I did like 5 for the first issues. And most of the retailers I talked to said they were limiting the sales to like one copy per person. So in the past, where a book may have sold tremendously, like a first issue, was because you had people buying 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 copies. They're going to sell them on eBay or just for collectibles. But most of the retailers I talked to, it's all individual sales. So when you have books like The Flash topping out over 100,000, you have Batman hitting 200,000, and Justice League, you know, that's great just to have that many individual readers on a book. I mean, that's really good for the industry as a whole, and I think it's made people just come to comic stores who maybe have lapsed a little bit, and it rises everybody up. I think other books have had a higher profile because of it, and I think it's just a great thing to keep this industry going. It's one of the best industries out there, and we're all up here because we love what we do, except for Scott. I just think it's great.
The great thing, this is a big opportunity for you guys. Like, if you love these books, you need to tell your friends that they exist. People don't know that comics are a real thing that you can still buy. And right now, DC is giving you the huge opportunity to put new books into people's hands. They have a #1 on the cover. That means they can understand it, they can follow it, and they can get hooked on the same crack rock that we've all been hooked on all of our lives. By doing that, that makes sure that the industry is going to be here, not just today, not just tomorrow, but in 20, 30, 40 years. So it's really, really important. When you find things you love, you've got to shout about them. And you've got to tell every person you know, read these books. Specifically, I Vampire. That's really, you all have to tell your comic shop to pre-order this stuff, so they know that you want it, and they print enough copies for everybody.
And the other thing is digital. You know, digital is a great way to introduce new people because everybody's got their smartphone now, and rather than having to go get a physical copy, and sometimes it's hard to get physical copies of some of these books, especially the #1s, you can email them a link to DC Comics, Comixology, and say, you know, here it is. You can download this and read it right now. It's not just, you don't have to just get in your car and go find a comic shop you've never been to. Really spreading the audience digitally, I think, is one of the best parts of what DC's done.
Though if you did want to get in your car and go to a comic shop, you should maybe go to Emerald Knights in North Hollywood.
That's a great idea.
Mike's wrong. You actually should go to the store and buy comics.
After you go to the store, email a link to your friends.
While you're at the store, email a link to your friends.
One of the things that has been greatest for me, I actually sent a package of all the 52 #1s back home to my family, and I got a message this morning actually from my little brother that said, "My Superman is so cool," and I wonder if there's a sense with you guys of a new ownership, that these are not the characters from the 50s, but these are our characters now, characters we love and we can own as well.
Yeah, I don't think ownership, at least for me, isn't the word that I would use. It's, as a creator, I'm trying to imitate what happened to me 30 years ago when, after Crisis, which DC had, they did some other #1s. They did, John Byrne did a Superman #1, and George Perez did a Wonder Woman #1, and I can't remember the guy who was writing Flash, which is my favorite book at the time, and Wally West became the Flash. At that point, I was a little kid, and those characters became my versions of those characters, not the 50s version, 60s version, 70s version, but that was 85, 86, 87, all through the 80s, and I grew up with that. When I'm writing Mr. Terrific, and I think it's kind of similar for everybody here, we're creating that same energy, and we're putting it out there for you guys, because we want you to get that same feeling that I got in 1985, 1986. We want you to say exactly what that little boy said. This is my Superman, this is my Mr. Terrific, this is my Captain Atom, this is my Flash. And take that forward, because we're creating new stories with new characters, with new villains, and we're just pumped and excited, and we just want to share that to you. And like we've been saying, if you find books you like, use social media, tweet about it, Facebook about it, do it, spread the word. Comic books are back.
I would say, yeah, the coolest thing that happened to me to that point of ownership, I don't feel ownership to any character that I'm writing, because they're going to be around a lot longer than I am. But I did, when Nightwing came out, the first issue of Nightwing came out, the old Chuck Dixon run is like one of my favorite comic runs of all time, and I happen to have a copy copy of his like Nightwing #1, and it was on my desk for some. I was looking through it for reference, and my comps showed up from DC, and so there was my Nightwing #1, and I happened to throw it down on my desk, and they were sitting side by side, and I realized that there had never been another Nightwing #1 ever, and it was really cool. Like and really depressing at the same time because like I'm gonna screw this up, and so it's good.
That's how you sell it, Kyle. It's good.
I know. It's not all of us can follow.
Do we want to take some questions from the audience? You guys got questions? Raise your hand.
Okay, my question is for all of you. Which character would you guys like to work on that has not been used in a while? You know, Black Adam or like something like that.
I'd like to kill Supergirl.
Neither of your characters can do that. It's smack talk. We should just talk smack up here about each other's characters. Blue Devil is a character that I've always loved. Do you guys know Blue Devil? Blue Devil fans out there? So I wanna bring him back. Yeah.
I'd like to do something with the Flash someday. Put the Flash in one of my books. Come on, we just said ownership.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'd like to.
Brian said ownership.
Yeah. I'd love to do Deathstroke. I think Deathstroke is an awesome handle. Yeah, take it.
I'd like to do Deathstroke.
Yeah, we're doing a crossover.
Brian and I are going to say the same thing because we argue about it. I want to write Superman like there is no tomorrow. Literally, like it would be there's no tomorrow. It's so weird. What's he going to do?
I already said Superman. He said he's done Superman. I don't know what that means.
I don't know about a hero, but I'm going to go with a villain that we haven't seen yet in the New 52, and that's Ra's al Ghul. It's kind of what I want to do, find out my way, so we'll see what happens.
I just chime in for a second. I would have loved for you guys to see Kenneth Rockefeller's vision of pain that we didn't get to use, so let's work on that.
John Paul Valley, Ezra. I'm not sure either. Is there anything happening to him? So
I would love the opportunity to fix iVampire before it goes too
He's dead
far
to be
afield.
locked down.
But in the meantime, I would like to say I'd like to do Raven and bring Raven back. But the question was what characters we couldn't work on, and I'm actually going to be bringing Raven back in about 5 issues. So I don't know what I think.
I'd really like to do something with the question. It's one of my favorite books. Yeah.
I would add Tim Drake to my list too. Sorry, Scott, but seriously, I would like to do Tim Drake.
Say what?
It's not important. It's fine.
No, you should do Tim Drake. Tim Drake should be guest. Who thinks Tim Drake should guest star on Nightwing? How many people would buy more copies of Nightwing if Tim Drake was in it, guest starring? Okay.
Stay tuned.
And how many people are looking forward to the 3-part Superboy story guest starring Red Robin, the two of them together? Anybody? Okay, good. Then I'll do it.
Okay. I downloaded the New 52 on my iPad, and I felt like I was having a completely different experience than I would just going into a comic store, which I've done my whole life. Like I was getting it, and it looked amazing on the iPad. I was flipping through, and it didn't feel like reading a comic book. It was really interesting to me that it felt friendlier. Like I didn't have to go out of the house. I don't want to compare to people. Right, exactly. It's kind of like, I mean, it's like you don't have to go to the porn shop anymore. You know, it's like the same type of thing. So, but what I want
You don't have to, but you can.
Well, it's true. You know, you would miss out on meeting. You would miss out on meeting all those great people that you do. But I'm interested. Are you kind of as the new DC comes out, are you looking to expand through digital and through social media into like new demographics, people who haven't traditionally read comics? And it just seems to me like, especially in the Facebook age, it's like now there's so many more opportunities to put those comics in front of people that haven't been there before. in a totally friendly way.
That's the whole point. I think that's the whole point of digital, is to reach that new market. You know, it's because it's a new generation of people. I mean, we want the people that have loved comics for years to keep reading them and keep loving them because of the great characters we've grown up with, and we still love these characters. And there are modern day myths of our society. But at the same time, the digital realm is how the younger generation and the new generation. That's how they're gonna read it. That's how they're gonna absorb their stuff. I mean,
yeah, and I mean that was the whole point of the relaunch in general. I mean, it's the reason why the universe, we've streamlined it. DC has decided that doing a reboot to coincide with day-to-day digital is not a coincidence. I mean, creating a line that's more accessible for those other demographics, other audiences that you're talking about, whether it be digital or be print, but getting new people into stores. You've seen an increased marketing and PR campaign. You've seen commercial TV. You've seen stuff. You've seen stuff in movie theaters, promoting comic stores. Like, it's all part of a bigger campaign to basically get new readers. I mean, you know, the industry's getting smaller, so this was a very concerted effort by DC on DC's part. That's an Emerald Knights question, actually.
That's the question. Are you seeing new types of people come in?
Are you getting any new readers in store?
Yeah, actually, we've seen a huge increase in female readers. We've seen
and that's mostly because of Red Hood #1, right? That's what I hear. Anyone?
Not really.
He'll be here all week.
But yeah, we've seen a huge increase in younger readers, and a lot of return readers who might not have read in like 10 years. But yeah, like readership is definitely up, and it's definitely expanding to all different kinds of people.
And the other thing is, it's amazing the contact you can have with creators now. I mean, when I was growing up and, you know, reading early 80s DC and Marvel, you know, was, I wouldn't dream of being able to have any contact with the creators, but now I think everybody up here is on Twitter pretty much, or Facebook, or both, and, you know, we'll respond. If you guys have a question, we love talking about ourselves. It's one of our favorite things to do.
Especially Kyle. Oh my God.
Higgins, yeah. Higgins will talk to you all day. But, you know, make contact with the creators that you like and let them know that, you know, I like this, I didn't like that. And also, a lot of the artists have their own blogs now, where if you like an artist, go Google them and find their blog and check out all the other art they're doing and share it with your friends. It's really, the internet has been an amazing boon for the industry.
Normally I'd wait to get stuff in trade paperback, but you guys got me interested in what you're doing right now. I heard a lot of buzz about it, it was pretty positive, and so I picked up some of the 52 titles, and there's something that's utterly confused me, so I'm going to ask something that's probably a really dumb question that everyone else knows the answer to, but I noticed in like Action Comics it's going through the origins of Superman, and then in Superman it's like years later, and there seems to be this temporal discontinuity between a lot of the titles. And are they taking place in different time periods in the same continuity, or are they alternate continuities?
Superman and the Justice League take place 5 years ago. And I'm sorry, Action and Justice League take place 5 years ago. Everything else is taking place right now. It's an All-Star Western, which takes place 150 years ago. Unfortunately, we did not get the space cats, which I love.
On the note about, we were just talking about new readers, female readers. You know, of course, no disrespect, but we did make the joke about Red Hood, and I know it's gotten a little flack about sorry. Female representation in comics, particularly in DC. Of course, no disrespect. We're not seeing any, you know, obviously women on this panel right here, but how are we feeling about that? I mean, New 52 has gotten some flack about new portrayals of, you know,
Here's the thing about female creators as well. I feel like DC's gotten flack over that. There are female creators that were approached about New 52 books that either passed on the opportunity to write it, or they turned in pitches that weren't the right direction. So there's not a ton of female creators in the industry to begin with, and it's not for...
And that is Scott Lobdell's fault.
And that is Scott Lobdell's fault.
He's driven out many women from the industry.
But in terms of like the books and the content of the books, like you know, it's funny. Like people look at like like the Red Hood book or whatever. It's just like take a book and say, well, it's it's gratuitous or whatever. You know, but like you can't look at that. I mean, you have to look at like the line as a whole, because I'm gonna stop defending him now because he's behind. Yeah. No, but you have to look at it as a line as a whole. That's like saying, like, you know what, I don't really like ABC because I don't like one show that they air that I don't like. It's like, there's a wide, like, the thing that's the coolest, I think, about the 52 especially is that there is such a wide variety of books out there right now. I mean, you've got stuff like I, Vampire and Captain Atom and Swamp Thing and Animal Man, and then you've got your Justice League, and you've got Black Hawks, and you've got Mystery. I mean, there's your superhero books, there's action books, there's horror books, there's science fiction books, there's, you know, I mean, there's definitely a wide variety. And as far as like a book that reaches maybe, if there's another type of genre that you want to see, then tell DC about it, tell us about it, because it's a matter of, they try stuff like that, but if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell, and that's nothing we can do anything about. Because at the end of the day, they want books that sell.
That's a great point. Actually, we have a question for you guys. What is there anything that's not here in the 52 that you guys would like to see? Is there a character or a genre that you guys would like?
Question. Wait, genre that I just want to ask a question about the Red Hooded Woman. Actually, what is she? You know, what's the connection?
Secret.
That is.
I don't think we're allowed to talk about that. But
yeah, we just the only thing we know for sure is that she's going to be a huge presence sometime after the first year. So she'll be appearing a little more here and there, not in all 52 at the same time, but she'll be around. And I just want to say one thing, since when we were talking, you mentioned women in comics. The thing that confused me is, like, I know a lot of women writers. Both of my editors on Teen Titans and Red Hood are both women. One is a woman I've known for 20 years. What is interesting to me is, like, I understand the importance of having, like, women creators and guy creators, but I don't think that there's that much difference between men writers and women writers in the first place. I don't think that if DC suddenly hired, if they got rid of half the guys, these guys, if they got rid of half the guys and made every other half of a comic book written by a woman, I mean, would we see totally different comic books? I mean, we're all writers. I don't think there's a distinction between a woman writer and look at Gail Simone. You can't read a Gail Simone book and a J.T. Crow book and say,